Welcome to Bahamas Educational Express lesson video. This is a math lesson. It's on volume and it is from our geometry unit. And the learners will be able to calculate the volume of a cube, calculate the volume of a rectangle, and calculate the missing length or the missing sides. Now, when you learn about area perimeters, and now we're going to learn about volume. Now, volume, when we calculate for volume, we multiply three things, which will be the height, the length, and the width. Okay, so three things you will calculate, and our answer will be in cube. When we did area, we did squares, but this is volume, we're going to do cube. You can use cube units, or you could write a small 3 at the top, okay? So, calculating for cube. Now, cubes are made up of squares, and squares always have the same side. And so now we have a cube that is 5 centimeters. That means that the length, the height, and the width will be 5 centimeters. So therefore, we have to multiply 5 times 5 times 5. And let's see what the answer will be. Okay? 5 times 5 times 5 give us 125. And remember, our measurement is centimeters and volume is in cube. Now let's look at this one here. We notice that one length is 4, so it means that the length, the height, and the width must be 4. So when we multiply 4 times 4 times 4, our answer is 64. Our measurement unit is feet, and so we have to put feet cube. Let's look at this one. Now we have our measurement for one side is 6 centimeters. Remember, we're working with cube, so it means that all sides are the same. So we multiply 6 times 6 times 6, and our answer becomes 218 centimeters cube. All right, let's look at the yellow cube, and the measurement is 9 meters. So it means that we have to multiply 9 times 9 times 9, which will give us 729 and meters cube. Now, we are now going to find the volume of a rectangle. Now, the volume of the rectangle, the measurements changes. Not all of the sides are the same. And so we have to multiply each of them. So we know that we have the length, 7 centimeters, we have the height, 3 centimeters, and we have the width, 5 centimeters. So now we have to, what is the length? Our length is 7, our width is 5, and our height is 3. And so we have to multiply them all. And what will we get? That's right, 105 centimeters cube. Let's look at the shape, the rectangular shape on the right. We know that the length is 9, the height is 4, and the width is 3. And so when we multiply them together, remember, volume is length times height times width, length times width times height. So let's multiply them together. And what do we get? 108 centimeters cube. Here's another one. Now pause the video and see if you can work them out. Okay, great. So our length is 8, our width is 3, and our height is 5. What will be our volume? 120 inches cube. Let's go to the purple shape. Our length is 10, our height is 5, our width is 3, and we're looking at yards. So how much would this be? 150 yards cube. Okay, now we have arrived to another area in our volume lesson, and this one is to finding the missing side. Remember that volume has three measurements, which is the length, the width, and the height. Now, we notice that there are only two measurements here, but they also gave us what the volume must be. So this is how we should do. The first thing we have to do is use what they gave us. And the two measurements, we have to multiply those two measurements 8 times 2. 8 times 2 will give us 16. The next thing we are going to do, when we have our product, which is 16, we are going to divide into the volume that they give us, which is 64. So we divide 16 into 64 and it gives us 4. That 4 now becomes our missing side. So here, so if you multiply 8 times 2 is 16, 4 times 16 will give us 64. All right, let's look at the one on the right. Now the measurement that they gave us are 4 and 10. 4 times 10 give us 40. So we multiply that. The next thing we are to do is to divide that 40 into 120, which is the volume that they already calculate. And to find that missing side, we said 40 and we have 120 and how many times? 4 times. So our answer becomes 3. Let's look at this one. Now they gave us the two sides is 12 and 2. So we know that the height is missing, and so we have to calculate the height. But they told us that the total volume is 120. So we multiply the 2 that they gave us, which is 12 times 2, which is 24. And then we divide 24 into 120. And how many times would we get? We will get 5 times. Okay, let's look at the one on the right now. What did they give us? They gave us the height and the width, but they didn't give us any length. So we have to now solve for that. So first thing we are going to do is to multiply the two sides, which are 6 times 7. 6 times 7 give us what? 42. And now we have to divide 42 into 252. And that gives us how much? 6 times. So that is how we find the side, the missing side for volume. Now, okay, here's a chart now, or a table, you may call it. Now, sometimes our work can come in tables and charts. So it is up to us to know how to solve them. So here, I'm going to ask you to stop the video and see if you can work them out, okay? All right, so we have the first one, we have to find the volume. So we multiply length times width times height, and we find the volume. The second one, same thing, finding the volume. Third one, we have a missing side. And so what we do, we have 2, 4 times 9, and whatever we get, we are going to divide it into 432, and we can find the missing side. Then we have the fourth one, we have to find the volume. The fifth one, same thing, there's a missing side, multiply the 2 that we get, divide it into the volume, and we get the missing side, okay, which is the length there. And the last one is we have a missing height. So we know that we have length times the width, so we multiply those two together and then divide it into 420, and we get the height, okay? Let's see how well you have done. All right, so the first one is 300. That is centimeters cubed. The second one is 396 centimeters cubed. The missing width here is 12. the missing volume. The volume is 243 centimeters cubed. The missing length here is 14, and the missing height here is 7. All right, here are some other practice. Now you can try these out. Multiplying, find the volume for the cube. And that's it. Great job, guys.